The Ultimate Book of Shaggy Dog Stories. Written by A.O. Williams. Narrated by A.O. Williams. The Ultimate Book of Shaggy Dog Stories. A.O. Williams. Copyright 2022. A.O. Williams. All rights reserved. The characters and events portrayed in this book are fictitious. Any similarity to real persons, living or dead, is coincidental and not intended by the author. No part of this book may be reproduced or stored in a retrieval system or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, photocopying, recording, or otherwise, without express written permission by the author. The Ultimate Book of Shaggy Dog Stories. Introduction. The true definition of a Shaggy Dog story is as follows. A long, rambling story or joke, typically one that is amusing only because it is absurdly inconsequential or pointless. A Shaggy Dog story in its purest form is a long-winded tale which eventually arrives at a sometimes ridiculous and often groan-inducing punchline. After much research and to the best of my knowledge, these stories have never been released in audiobook form or print. Having said that, the main reason for putting together this collection of stories and jokes is in the hope of encouraging parents, particularly fathers, to become storytellers to their children, although obviously anyone can listen. As a father of 3, these stories hold fond memories for me during long car journeys and keeping my sons entertained. No matter how many times they're repeated, kids love to hear them over and over again. Some of the stories might be considered incredibly cringeworthy, but the fact is, kids love them and will love hearing you tell them. I guarantee that they will pass these stories on to their children when they too become parents. Some of these tales might not be considered politically correct these days, so use your judgment in their retelling. I've included some of the best Quickfire Dad jokes between stories and a rude section of rhymes and limericks at the end of the book. These will hopefully bring back fond memories from your childhood and time in the playground as they do for me. Have fun and enjoy spending time with your children. They grow up so quickly. To quote from the film Superman, the son becomes the father and the father becomes the son. The Ultimate Book of Shaggy Dog Stories. Tips for retelling the stories. I have included notes and advice at the end of each story, if needed, to ensure that whoever you're telling the stories to get the joke and/or wordplay involved. Some of this will involve a bit of time on your part well before you tell the story, but I assure you, it's worth it. Words printed in capitals or overpronounced in the audiobook should be emphasized during the story, or the action of the word carried out, to make the child jump slightly. You obviously know your children better than I do, so work to their levels. But usually, they love a good adrenaline rush during a story. Please, feel free to put as much of yourselves into these stories as possible, using my words as a guide. Make them sound as if they really did happen to you or someone you know, and have fun retelling the tales. Chapter 1. The Shaggy Dog. This is a story about a friend of mine called Bob. Bob was one of the nicest people I've ever met, though I've not seen him for many years now. He really was a good friend at the time, and also an incredibly good runner. He was so good at running that he was selected to run for his country and won several gold medals in long-distance running. He trained very hard every day and was always out running. One day when he was out training, he saw a poster pinned to a tree which piqued his interest, so he stopped to read it. The poster read as follows. Lost, really shaggy dog. Big reward if found. Call Max on 0123456789. But sadly, there wasn't a picture of the dog. So Bob thought to himself, I like dogs, but what I really like is the sound of that big reward. Runners don't get paid very much, so he vowed to himself there and then that he would keep a lookout for the shaggy dog while he was out training. Nearly 2 weeks went by and Bob continued training every day, always keeping an eye out for the shaggy dog, but he never saw it anywhere. After that long, Bob was beginning to get a bit discouraged at ever finding the dog and getting his big reward. Then, one evening, on his last run of the day, he thought he spotted something from the corner of his eye that looked like a big shaggy dog. It was getting dark and hard to see, but whatever it was ran behind some bushes at the side of the road. He crept very slowly over to the area so as not to scare whatever it was away, and peeked very carefully around the bushes, then pounced to grab whatever it was. But sadly, there was nothing there. Bob became really discouraged now about ever finding the dog and decided to call it a night on his training. He turned around and started to make his way home when he tripped over the biggest, shaggiest dog he'd ever seen. Bob looked at the dog, and the dog looked at Bob. Then suddenly the dog turned on its heels and ran off. Luckily, Bob was a very fit man and obviously a very good runner, but if you've ever tried to catch a running dog, you'll know that it's almost impossible. They're just too fast for humans.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?